Yes, it is me, Market Vendor here again today, boy. I know one of us get tired of hearing Market Vendor by now. Let me tell you something, right? Prime Minister Mia Amor Mottley, she got a characteristic that I wish Market Vendor had. But mind you, if I had that characteristic, I wouldn't have a program because I wouldn't be talking at all. I noticed with the Prime Minister that people say all kinds of things about her sometimes. Over during the last campaign, before the campaign, when she was in opposition, and even though she in government. You know, she just ignore them. She don't take them on at all. She just kind of like, shrug that lamb, slide off your back like water off a duck back. I wish I had that capacity, though, you know. When people tell me foolishness, I wish I could just ignore them and walk away. But you see me, Market Vendor, let me tell you something. When people trouble me, my mother always tell me, boy, stand up for your rights. Although, you know, the truth is, I think that the Prime Minister is really right. Now, let me deal with one example here. First of all, let me state once again that where this coronavirus thing is concerned, there is no blue book. There is no rule book that I could go and say, well, look, you know, the manual, let me see what the manual say in relation to these things. You know, when you buy a motor car, it has come with a manual, right? And if something can't work, or you don't know how it's working, or you can't get it fixed, you just so you pick up the manual before you go to the mechanic. And you start to check that manual and you read it. There is no manual when it comes to coronavirus. So let me understand that. So all the people who claim that they're the experts and they got the answers, we should have closed down the borders too earlier, we should have do this, we should have do that, we should still be on lockdown, we should starve to death in the house, whatever the case may be. You understand? You don't know any more than anybody else. Let me make that very clear. Now, let me get to the point. Now, the leader of the opposition, and I like the leader of the opposition, I have to say he's a very nice gentleman. I've always liked him, always respected him, always found him to be very respectful. He don't bring the gutter politics to bear nor nothing so. But I gotta tell you, Joe, I think you're on the wrong side of history for some of these things. Now, for example, you are reported to have said that the government should not be using the $40 million out of the emergency fund, the catastrophe fund, that should be left for the hurricane season. Now, first of all, a catastrophe, I would like to know what is your definition of a catastrophe. Called catastrophe could be a flood. It could be, we remember one back in 1984, that bring Prime Minister, at the time he wasn't Prime Minister, but later became Prime Minister when after. He had lost by one vote to Sybil Leacock, boy, let me tell you. Floods come through in St. Peter, a Minister of Floods get appointed. You know, a lot of work went on down there since Whitestown, and when the bell rang the second time, he was the man way out front in front of Sybil Leacock. Poor lady, she only went to Parliament for one sitting. Mr. Hatter had plenty years after that. No, you see me, Market Vendor. What do you define as a catastrophe? After all, listen, hurricane is a disaster. Flood is a disaster. Earthquake is a disaster. Disasters could be fire. It could be all kinds of things. It could also be coronavirus. You could think of another catastrophe that would bring down the whole economy of this country other than coronavirus. What else is there? This is the worst catastrophe we have ever faced in the history of this country. The whole economy lick up right now. The building's standing. Yes, we know that the building's standing. And we've had a few deaths, not a lot. But the whole country been locked down. The airport closed. The seaport. Everything shut down. People can't come. People can't go. You are where you are. You got to stay in your house. You got to wear masks. You got to do this. And you could only allow to go to your house on certain days because of this virus that we're trying to fight and trying to wrestle to the ground. So if coronavirus does not represent a case for tackling the $40 million that we got in the catastrophe fund, I got to ask you, what will it be? You can't be making sport, man. Coronavirus got to be a catastrophe when there can't be nothing worse than this. If a hurricane come down through here, so blow down a few houses and lick up a few things and take down some telephone poles, you think that's more important than this here? Nothing to me, Market Vendor, could be more important than this. I have never lived through anything like this in my life, and I pray to God that I survive it and that I will be standing at the end, never to see something like this again. And we ain't no way going in. So you see me, market vendor, I say to the Prime Minister, keep doing what you're doing. Ignore the naysayers. Do what you got to do. We the people out here behind you. Market vendor gone for now. Have a blessed and a wonderful day. And you too, Joe, because you're a good fella. You got a good heart. I know that, dear.